COVID calming down.
We're concerned about the number of people who are going to be left uninsured as a result of these pandemic-era policies ending.
Team coverage this morning on the end of the national emergency. The president touting progress.
My budget invests in public safety.
A recap of his address to America Live. And the network heads to Hollywood to get you ready for this weekend's Academy Awards. These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Hello, South Florida. I'm Halwa Ezel.
I'm Elena Key, and today is Friday, March 10th, 2023.
Live from the FIU Lee Kaplan School of Journalism and Media, this is SFMN Newsbreak.
President Biden is back in D.C. this morning after hitting the road to unveil his budget plan. The president laid out his new budget in Pennsylvania yesterday, garnering disapproving reactions from Republicans in the House.
Reporter Sofia Zuniga from our D.C. bureau is live with the recap.
Yesterday, President Biden released his budget for the 2024 fiscal year, totaling up to $6.8 trillion. Now, it's moving on to Congress, where it's expected to be dead on arrival because of the Republican majority in the House. Biden wants to tax billionaires at least 25%, increase corporate tax rates, and quadruple tax on stock buybacks. These tax increases would bring in around $5 trillion in the next decade, which Democrats plan to use to reduce America's debt. While Republicans will not agree with these plans, they may agree with his $842 billion allocation for the Defense Department.
My budget invests in public safety. It includes funding for more training, more support for law enforcement, at a time when they expect to play many roles. I don't want to defund them. They need more help. We don't expect a cop to be everything from a psychologist to a counselor.
The budget was presented in the Philadelphia Union Hall with the intention of targeting middle-class Americans. Biden pushed for more financial help for college, lowering prescription prices, and bringing back the manufacturing sector to America. Biden said his budget aims to lift the burden on hardworking Americans, allegedly opposed to Republicans' plans.
The fact is that the Speaker of the House he's a very conservative guy, and he has even more conservative group with him. We'll sit down and we'll go line by line. And we'll go through it and see what we can agree on and what we disagree on, and then fight it out in the Congress.
Republicans were extremely vocal about their disagreement with the proposed budget, with Speaker Kevin McCarthy calling it completely unserious. Reporting for the South Florida Media Network, I'm Sofia Zuniga from Washington, D.C.
With President Biden ending the COVID-19 national public health emergency on May 11th, some will be left with new bills to pay. D.C. Bureau Angela Rivas is in Washington this morning.
Vaccines will continue to be free under government recommendation, as well as Paxlovid, a government-bought drug used to fight COVID for those 12 and over. Professor Elena Bastida, chair of the Department of Health Promotion and Disease Prevention at FIU, explained how seniors living in Miami who are on a limited income will be impacted.
But still the payments are quite low when you look at people who contributed to Social Security 10, 20 years ago, who now may be in their mid-80s and so on, and we have a large population of those that the money that they get in their usual Social Security check will not be enough to cover it as everything has gone up.
Starting on April 1st, the U.S. government will also start the process of redetermination for those with Medicaid, removing everybody who does not qualify anymore for the insurance based on income. Ariel Kane from Families USA, a national nonprofit organization dedicated to affordable health care for all Americans, explain how they are concerned for the amount of uninsured Americans that will emerge.
We're concerned about the number of people who are going to be left uninsured as a result of these pandemic-era policies ending. And then when they're uninsured, of course, it affects their COVID coverage, but it also just affects their overall well-being and ability to access healthcare services.
The D.C. area itself will be ahead of other parts of the nation. Official closing COVID clinics at the end of this month. The Sabrina Begery-Stein from our D.C. bureau continues our team coverage.
Behind me is a COVID center looking rather empty. The DC Department of Health has stated that COVID is at an all-time low and that at-home test kits are at an all-time high, causing the end to these centers.
Since January 2022, the centers have provided residents with vaccinations, testing kits, and masks. DC resident Barbara Dotson says she wonders where people will go to find accessible resources.
Because some people don't have transportation to get anywhere, so having it close to them it makes it accessible for them. Now, if they close the clinics down, where are people going to go? Where? Their health is at stake. That's the first and most important thing, I would think. So, what are they supposed to do?
Dodson and other residents say the main concern is the obstacles some people might face in order to receive COVID-related health care.
I think closing is not very good, especially for DC. There's a lot of low-income people living here. So I say I'm totally disagree.
DC Health is advising people to visit their local pharmacies and doctor offices to get access to masks, vaccinations, and testings. I'm Sabrina Beggerstein in Washington, D.C. for the South Florida Media Network.
A federal appeals court has voted to uphold the Florida law that states that you must be 21 to purchase a gun. After the 2018 Parkland school shooting, Florida raised the minimum age to purchase a gun from 18 to 21 yesterday. The 11th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals ruled 3-0 that the law is in line with the nation's firearm regulations. It may not matter because the bill working its way through the Florida legislature now will return the age to 18.
South Florida's incarcerated writers share a glimpse of what life behind bars looks like with an expressive anthology of poems and short stories. The network's Leon Abutar-Bush has more on the story.
From poetry and fiction to nonfiction and drama, award-winning readers share the stories of incarcerated writers from across South Florida. Shh.
Amos, Brandon famous. It kind of rhymes with Brandon Amos.
PEN America has been recognizing incarcerated writers for over 5 decades, and Books and Books in Coral Gables hosted the 5th annual Breakout, a PEN America initiative that strives to defend free expression, support persecuted writers, and promote literary culture.
So we send out calls for submissions all the time, and the program is so old that people just know about it, and by word of mouth especially. And most people mail in their entries through postal mail. That's how we communicate with a lot of our writers. It's once a year. We usually do it in Brooklyn and New York, so this is our first time doing it in another city. So it's a very special event for us, and we're really excited that we could come out to the community and share the work of these writers.
On Thursday, the 5 readers read through the best stories from the book The Sentences That Create Us, a collection of stories written by prisoners across the United States. 2 out of the 5 readers were formerly incarcerated, and 1 was a featured author in the anthology. Floridian poet Scott Cunningham was one of the readers for the Breakout event.
What's certain is, never again did the man have to go through life without a heart.
I was definitely just blown away by, what I discovered in there, and it was fun to be able to read it. It was an honor to be able to read it. Over 90% of those who are incarcerated are eventually going to rejoin, the general population. So, the question is, what are we going to do for those people?
Emotional and inspiring stories born in a 4-wall prison. To check out the stories, visit penamerica.org and check out the writers and their beautiful work. Reporting for the South Florida Media Network, I'm Leanna.
All across America, pet owners usually have signs that say beware of dogs in their backyards, but here in Florida, it's beware of alligators. It is currently the season that alligators are most active, and yesterday in Volusia County, an 11-foot gator broke into the backyard of Lynn Tossi and took a swim in her pool. Lynn said that she saw the gator from inside the house and Shirley wasn't going out to check. This is the 3rd alligator home invasion in the past 5 days in Central Florida.
Oscar season is here. Many from around the film world gather to set Sunday for the 95th Academy Awards. The network's Gabriela Perez has more on the star-studded show.
Mark your calendars. The 95th Annual Academy Awards will be airing this Sunday, with Jimmy Kimmel being invited to host for his 3rd time. The glam, the spotlight, the red carpet is back. Since the 7th Academy Award, it is the first time in 88 years that most Best Actor nominees are first-timers, such as Rihanna's first ever Oscar nomination for Best Original Song, Lift Me Up, from Black Panther, Wakanda Forever.
As you can see behind me, I'm currently at the Dolby Theater. It might be quiet this weekend, but next weekend, you don't want to miss the Oscars with your favorite A-list celebrities.
Some nominees include Angela Bassett for actress in a supporting role in the newest Black Panther movie, Austin Butler for Elvis, an actor in a leading role. This year's award show will include Top Gun Maverick, the highest opening weekend launch of any Tom Cruise film ever. This film was a sequel to the 1986 blockbuster starring the A-list actor.
It does not look
Good. One of the first-timer nominees for actress in a supporting role is Jamie Lee Curtis for the film and comedy drama Everything Everywhere All at Once, which has been in the works since 2010. I see. Expect to see Avatar, The Way of Water for Best Picture, as it soared to $1.17 billion at box offices all over the globe.
I am really good. I don't believe you.
Diversity fills the room this year, as 17% of women have received nominations, as well as just 3 years after the film Parasite swept the Oscars off their feet. The Academy Award propels Asian acting nominees to a historic high. Stay tuned on March 12 to watch iconic pop culture moments and witness your favorite celebrities being recognized for their hard work. Reporting from Los Angeles, I'm Gabriela Perez for South Florida Media Network.
A Ferrari in Florida sets a sales record.
That's still ahead, and so is this story.
Cars that are all blown out and on fire looking kind of things.
Cars in Southwest Florida were stranded by Hurricane Ian, but you may be surprised to learn how long it's taking them to remove them. Newsbreak will be back in 2 minutes.
Severe weather can strike anytime, anywhere, but there's a simple way to stay safe. Hey, Jim Cantori here. I stay safe in dangerous weather by planning ahead. You can stay safe too with a few easy steps. Build an inexpensive kit with supplies for your family's needs. Write down important information like phone numbers and medications. Always talk with your family, and remember any pets in your planning. Be ready, be safe. Start your plan today at ready.gov/plan.
I don't know why you're so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
You gotta stop with that depressing stuff. That's what white people think. You all right?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it?
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad.
Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
If you're buzzed and doing this, to make yourself feel okay to drive,
ZWX.
you're not okay to drive.
YGKLVW. Regular you.
Stranded after the storm, cars still in the streets of Fort Myers nearly half a year later. Today, Fort Myers Beach residents are speaking up as cleanup efforts stall.
Thousands of cars destroyed by Hurricane Ian, which hit the area 5.5 months ago, keep appearing all across the city, with as many as 35,000 cars being damaged, and residents are starting to see the problem. Some cars have been sitting in ponds and in ditches for months, while others are still being dumped across town.
Been neglected. There is the presence of FEMA here, but you'd think that there'd be more progression.
The Florida Division for Emergency Management have removed about 5,000 vehicles since Ian hit, but still have a long way to go. If you have a vehicle missing or damaged by Hurricane Ian on your property, you can submit an application at the FDEM Debris Cleanup website. The deadline to submit is March 29th. An $18 million Ferrari leads the record at a classic car auction in Amelia Island near Jacksonville. This 1962 Ferrari 250 Spider still contains its original body and frame. This Spider is one of only 37 of its kind with covered headlights. It was built for the 1962 New York International Auto Show and drew about 25,000 car enthusiasts to Florida's Amelia Island last weekend.
That's all the time we have for Newsbreak. I'm Anna Naki.
I'm Hawa Ezel. Get any news anytime at sfmn.fiu.edu.